Dear children, in this module, let us learn about the subdivisions under vertebrata, namely Agnatha, that is the jawless animals, and Gnathostomata, that is the jawed animals. So first, let us learn about Agnatha, that is all the jawless animals. They are come under the class called as Cyclostromata. These animals under Cyclostromata, they are ectoparasites on some fishes. What I mean are ectoparasites? They are dependent on a host, but they are residing outside the host. So they are called as ectoparasites. The body is elongated without any scales or paired fins. They do not have fins. You can see their body is elongated without any fins. And gill slits are present. Gill slits are present for respiration, and we can see the gill slits present on this organism. So they are ectoparasites. So they have suckers. So they have sucking and circular mouth. We can see the circular mouth in the case of Cyclostromata. And these are organisms without jaws. That's why they are placed under the Agnatha. And the cranium and vertebral column, they are cartilaginous, and circulation is closed type. That means the blood is flowing through through blood vessels, and they are marine but migrate for spawning to fresh water. Spawning means for the egg laying purpose. They swim from the marine waters to fresh water, and soon after spawning they die, and their larva, after undergoing metamorphosis, that is a larva changing into adults, that's called as metamorphosis, they return back to their marine waters. So this is about Cyclostromata. The body is elongated, and they are ectoparasites. They have 6 to 15 gill slits for respiration. The mouth is circular, and they have a sucking mouth, and they have a cartilaginous cranium and vertebral column. And the special feature is that they are marine, but for spawning they come to the fresh water, and they die soon after spawning, and the larva, after metamorphosis, they return to their oceans. Examples are petromycin. Examples are petromycin and also mycin, which is called as the hagfish. So petromycin is always called as the lamprey. So these are the examples under the class Cyclostromata, which comes under Agnatha, that is a jawless animals. The subphylum Vertebrata is subdivided into Agnatha and Gnathostomata. Thus, Gnathostomata have the jawed or animals. Again, the Gnathostomata is divided into those animals which bear fins comes under superclass Pisces, and those having limbs comes under the superclass Tetrapoda. So let's learn about the superclass Pisces which bear fins. It is divided two classes, namely chondric thighs and aestic The cartilaginous fishes comes under the class chondric thighs, whereas the bony fishes comes under the class called as aestic thighs. So let us have a quick comparison of the characters of chondric thighs and aestic thighs. Chondric thighs, they are marine. They have streamlined body, and they are predaceous. They are predators. Whereas aestic thighs, they are marine as well as freshwater, and they have streamlined body. They are not predaceous. The case of chondric thighs, the cartilaginous endoskeleton is present, and that's why they are called as cartilaginous fishes, and notochord is persistent throughout their life. Whereas in the case of aestic thighs, the endoskeleton is bony. That's why they are called as bony fishes. The mouth is ventral. We can see the ventral mouth present in chondric thighs, and their jaws are really powerful. Whereas in the case of aestic thighs, the mouth is terminal in position. The gill slits are present without any operculum. We can see the gill slits are not covered by an operculum. There's no gill covering. Whereas in the case of aestic thighs, 4 pairs of gills are present with operculum on both the sides. They are covered by an operculum. You can see an operculum which covers the gill slits. The skins have plecoid scales. These are the plecoid scales. The skin is covered by plecoid scale. And teeth are modified plecoid scales which are backwardly directed. We can see the teeth is backwardly directed. Whereas the scales in the case of aestic thighs, they are cycloid or they are ctenoid. For example, these are the cycloid and ctenoid scales. In the case of air bladder, in the case of chondric thighs, it is absent. They do not have any sort of air bladder, so they have to swim constantly to avoid sinking. Whereas air bladder is present in the case of ichthyes, which helps in balancing or buoyancy. Both chondric thighs and aestic thighs, they are poikilothermous. That means they are cold-blooded animals. Cold-blooded means their internal temperature is not constant. It keeps on varying according to the ambient environment in which they are living. The number of chambers in the case of chondric thighs, they are two chambered, one auricle and one ventricle, and it is the same in the case of aestic thighs, that is one auricle and one ventricle. Sexes are separate both in chondric thighs and aestic thighs. In the case of chondric thighs, the male, in the case of the pelvic fins, they bear claspers. In the case of females, in the case of pelvic fins, they are having cloaca, which helps in fertilization. In the case of the chondric thighs, the fertilization is internal and many are viviparous. Viviparous means they give birth to their young ones. In the case of aestic thighs, the fertilization is different. They are external fertilization and most of them they are oviparous. And the development is direct. They do not have a larval stage in the case of aestic thighs. So that is about the superclass Pisces, which bear fins. They are divided into two classes, chondric thighs and aestic thighs. The chondric thighs, they are mainly the cartilaginous fishes, and aestic thighs, they are bony fishes. And we had a general comparison of their characters. Examples of the chondric thighs are the dogfish, the great white shark, the sawfish, the trigon, which is called as a stingray, and then torpedo, which is called as the electric ray. All these are examples of the chondric thighs. And examples of aestic thighs, that is a marine aestic thighs, are exocetus, which is otherwise called as a flying fish, then hippocampus, commonly called as a seahorse. The freshwater fishes are the labio, cutla, and the clarias, and the breeded fishes, namely the aquarium fishes, are betta, which is called as a fighting fish, or pterophyllum, otherwise called as the angelfish. So thus we have come to an end of the superclass, namely Pisces, which has two sub classes, namely chondric thighs and aestic thighs.